in a place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave, had to find a way to change, had to leave to find my way. Caught up in a daydream, I beat my mind up there almost daily. It's how I pass time, no opinions safely. It's how I understand what I want in this place, see. Cause everybody wanna tell you bad things, what could go wrong, what fame brings. But success is a finicky thing, and if you ain't sure, no, it'll never be. I don't wanna let myself down, myself down. I don't wanna let myself down, myself down.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome. There we go. Back to another I'm going to say today's kind of a really cool Thirsty Thursday. Tonight's going to be kind of special because if you were around on Monday or been around the community the last couple of weeks, we've kind of had a new member of the community kind of show up, and Anna she decided she would like to participate on Monday. Put her in Monday Digs. Her video was a huge success. So far, so good, so what? So tonight, I'm going to bring her up here, and I'm going to take the time to get to know her a little bit. And I hope you guys will all take the time to ask some questions as well. As I think we found another really great community member that's probably looks like it's going to be around for a hot minute. I'm going to introduce everybody to Miss Anna. She's the metal detecting mermaid. Well,
Hello.
There you are.
Hey, everybody.
Man, I don't even know how we're going here. We got a good little start today. Going to say hi to a few people in the chat. Kind of going to go through here fast because an hour goes by really quick when you get in the middle of a conversation. So, Papa Rouse, Mr. Bill was first in here today. Mr. Riddle in here from Riddle's Relics. Brian Ollier, hello. Our good friend Kevin Hawthorne from Lakeland, Florida. Hey, there you are. Let's see. Who else in here earlier? Motor City Magnet Fishers, Jason is in the house. Welcome, sir. Mr. Rick, welcome, sir. Good to see you guys. Thank you all for being here tonight. Etten Beach Treasures, welcome. Nice to see you. That's all the way over on the other side of the world. Mr. Tom Kingery is in the house. Welcome. Workman's Adventures. Hello. Let me get you a wrench. Workman, gonna make you blue. You can share your channel link or anything you'd like to in here. Also, you can click on other people's channels and go check them out. Thank you for being in here tonight. Brian, welcome. Brenda Christian, welcome. Let me get you a wrench as well. Man, we're going to throwing out them wrenches today. Are these your folks? There we go. Are some of these other channels your people, Anna? Anna or Anna?
Oh,
yeah.
Anna's fine. No, there are a lot of new names, and then there are also a lot of familiar names. So I'm excited to be here and to meet all of you.
Yeah, we get quite a few in here tonight. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. If anybody needs a wrench that I miss, please go ahead. Wayne drops a $2 super chat in here. Thank you, sir. Says happy Thursday. Much love, Mr. Wayne. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. There's Mr. Adam at Indiana and Earth. Bill at Diggin' SoCal. What's going on, you guys? Miss Danny D is in the house. What's up, my dear? Jason Fogel, Iron Antler. What's going on, guys? Good crew. Flash in your pan, Mr. Ed, representing the gold panning community. Miss Kelly's in the house. Grandma Kelly, representing the world, of course. She loves to keep this place clean. It's a good group. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and get there. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But I want to get into some conversation today. And last but not least, at the bottom of the list, Mr. Jim Steele is in the house. Well, Anna, first of all, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on here and hanging out. It hasn't been that long that you've been hanging around in the community. What made you make a YouTube channel, first and foremost?
I have wanted to do a YouTube channel for a really long time. And I have a boat tourism business here. And I take tourists out on the small pongas, and I show them things with I have 4 captains I work with, but one is my favorite. And we just go places that people would otherwise not be able to see. They're only accessible by boat. And of course, with 2 locals, people get a really rich and full experience. And as I work as the guide, so many people have said, you should film this, you should show your life. This is so interesting. There are so many people who would love to see how you live. But I'm really introverted, despite appearances. I'm really introverted. And I wasn't sure I wanted to be on camera. So even though I'd wanted to do a YouTube channel for a long time, I wanted something that was sort of a hybrid where I could be on camera if I wanted to, but I didn't have to be if I didn't want to. And I saw a video of someone doing underwater metal detecting. I don't know why it showed up in my feed, but it was an act of God, because as soon as I saw that, I thought, that's it. That's it. I love the water. I'm fascinated with this idea. And I just fell in love with it. I had never metal detected before. I didn't know diddly squat. I still only know a little more than diddly squat. And I researched voraciously. I probably watched about 100 hours of videos over a month, and really looked at my budget. And I made some good decisions, and I made some not so good decisions in the things that I bought and how I prepared. And I bought the x-terra Pro, my first detector, and just went out and did it. I bought a camera. I mean, I didn't even have a camera. All of it was brand new, and I'm hooked. I love it.
So yeah, that's so you were aiming to. So this was your way of kind of breaking the ice for being an introvert, or putting yourself on camera. Is this like preemptive before you take the camera on the boat and record some of that stuff too? Was this just an icebreaker way, or is this the way you just want to do it?
It's what I want to do. I have an idea for another channel, but not at the expense of this one. It's just something totally different. And to try and mingle the two would alienate the audience who likes this versus the other thing.
Nope.
So I love it. I just love it so much, more than I ever could have imagined.
So a little bit about, you're in Puerto Vallarta?
I'm in the Bay of Banderas, which is where Puerto Vallarta is. I have an apartment in Vallarta, and I spend one night a week there. That's where most of my videos are filmed, because, most, not all, about 3/4 are filmed there. But by boat, it's about an hour. So I hike down the mountain. I take a smaller boat, a smaller water taxi to another town, and then I wait for the big water taxi that takes me to Vallarta. The other option is that I can take the small boat to this other town. I can walk quite a ways, and then I can catch a bus, and then I can go to Vallarta. I used to have a car, but it wasn't worth it for driving once or twice a month. So even though it's not far, I can actually see Vallarta from my rooftop, but it's hard to get there from where I am.
So you're in a pretty secluded area. That's really cool. What's the? I mean, I've seen you detect on the beach, but what's the history like in that area? I mean, how long has it been it's mostly been a tourist area for how long, or just a little bit of insight?
I have not researched it as much as I now plan to. A little bit of cursory information is that it was inhabited by indigenous tribes all around the bay, and Spanish settlers came here, I believe, in the late 1500s. So there have been settlements of the Spaniards here since I think 1594, but I'm not exactly sure of that date. And then it just gradually grew as the Spaniards used it as sort of a bolt hole. Then it became more of a more fishing villages, and then they started farming, and it just grew from there.
So a little bit about your boat tours. You say you go to places that you can't normally get to. You have to travel by boat. What exactly does that kind of mean?
There are a few pueblos along the southern shores of Puerto Vallarta where I live that have just interesting little restaurants. A few of them have waterfalls, so you can hike to waterfalls, or some of them have ATV access. So we just basically, depending on what the people want to do, every tour is custom tailored, and they're private boats. So it's not like we're taking 70 people out on a big boat. They're all 25-foot pongas. We can have up to about 12 people per boat, but it's a private tour for that specific group. And so we really customize a tour based on what they want to do, whether it's whale watching or snorkeling or sightseeing, or we can do a tequila tasting tour or a raicilla tasting tour. So we really custom tailor what people want and within the time frame that they want to purchase, and we fit in what they want to do in that time frame. It's a lot of fun.
That's really cool. So you turned on YouTube one day, and in your feed was a metal detecting video, somebody metal detecting underwater. Ironically, that was my last video.
No.
You were instantly hooked. I've heard that before, but we've never had somebody that said that they were instantly hooked that was in much of an exotic location. I was talking about Gene from We Dig It. You know, they're on St. Croix, and that's a beautiful place to dig. Do you have any place other than beaches to dig? Do you have parks, or do you have any other areas that you want to go where you're at, or you just kind of like the water?
I love the water. The city does have a few parks with grass. Most parks in Mexico are cement sort of central plazas, but there are a few parks with grass and a few dog parks in the city that I want to go to. I have one video where I went to a waterfall here. There are another couple waterfalls that I can go to. I don't have a digging tool yet, so I'm limited at this point with what I can do with my sand scoop. Once I get a digging tool, there are definitely places inland that I want to go. I live pretty deep in the jungle. The only way to get to my house is to hike, and I'm up pretty high, and I'm the last house in our little area. So there's nothing behind me but jungle for about 18 miles. And my trail ends at the bottom of the mountain on a river. So I have a lot of river that I can scout around in. A waterfall, there's a creek behind my house. So even in this remote area in the jungle, I think I could find some interesting things, but certainly in the Puerto Vallarta area, there's a lot that I can explore. And one of my two best friends here is also my attorney. He's been here for 36 years. And he is also keen to metal detect. It's one reason why I wanted two metal detectors. And he can get me permissions on some old haciendas and some wonderful, wonderful places that do have history. So that's going to be exciting to explore too.
So yeah, you get into this group of people that's in here. There's so many of us history nerds, and to learn the history from another culture and see it brought in front of us on camera, that's kind of exciting going forward. You might want to hurry up and start doing some of that because we love that. Rob, thank you for the $2 super chat. Also, anybody interested in a metal detector, check out Mainly Metal Detectors. He just hooked up with a good deal on one. I'm sure Rob would love to sell a few detectors going forward. Oh, so man, so do you go out so I know you got the tour boats. Do you kayak or go out by yourself and kind of just look around and play? Have you just, hey, that place looks like a good spot to go detect this waterfall or whatnot. Have you done that yet?
Absolutely. And I do have 2 kayaks and 2 stand-up paddle boards. I actually had my own boat, but it was with my place in the city, I wasn't using it as much, and it was becoming more of a responsibility and maintenance issue than I wanted to maintain. But I ended up, I'm going to do unboxing of these actually. I ended up buying some motors, some little motors for my paddleboard and my kayak so that I can have a broader range, broader reach, and then, the safety of the get home factor of these little rechargeable motors, because there's some caves that I want to metal detect in. There's so much to explore here. I'm
Yes.
really excited.
So I don't know anything about land laws in Mexico, but is a lot of that public area, or is it state owned or country owned? How does that work?
All of the beach is considered federal zone and open to the public no matter what. Inland, I need to have permission of the homeowners, of course, or the property owners, I should say. I cannot metal detect on any sort of indigenous land without the tribe permission. And I live on tribal land. It's not exactly tribal land, but there's no English equivalent word. That's the best I can do with the language difference. So I can't use the metal detector where there are known artifacts. That all belongs to Mexico. And certainly if I were to find anything of value as a foreigner here, I would hand it over. I don't have any interest in keeping things that don't belong to me. That's different than finding rings on the beach or coins on the beach. That's free reign. But when it comes to Mexico's history, I would just ethically hand that over.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the absolute right thing to do, because I don't know a lot about the ancient history there, but you go back and think what you learned in high school, the Mayans, the Incans, that those tribes reigned supreme through that countryside for a lot of years, and just, gold, right? That you think about the gold and the silver from South America. I mean, it just seems like you could stumble upon something really amazing out there. So the jungle, right? You said there's 16 miles of jungle between you and town. What comes out of the jungle? What kind of critters do you have to deal with there?
It's intense. It's intense. And I have an open air house. I don't know, I know you can't see it in the camera, but there's a window right there, and it's just, I made a little screen for it, but they're all open air houses. Even my house in the city, I have no glass. The door has glass, but the windows don't. So we get everything. Right out of the way in the beginning, there are scorpions, but less than people think that there are. It's not like they're running around everywhere out to get you. But I do have scorpions. Luckily, they just sort of sit there and wait for you to kill them. So they're only dangerous if you happen to disturb them without seeing them. We have tons of iguanas, parrots. We have the military parrots, and then we have the great big blue and green macaws, and they're gorgeous. So many birds. We do have snakes. The only really venomous snake that we have is the coral snake. I luckily have never seen one, but I know people who have. We have other snakes that are mildly venomous, but they're more like a bee sting. I have concerns because I have 7 dogs, and they would, of course, be dangerous for my dogs, but for people, they're not that dangerous. We have jaguars. I've not seen one. I've heard them once or twice in the jungle, but I've never seen one.
And you don't think of them coming in the house?
I think they have plenty to eat where they are. They don't really venture towards the pueblos.
That just sounds really strange. I mean, I guess. I got raccoons and possums in my backyard, a few squirrels. Nothing that I'm really worried about coming in the house, but something with teeth and claws like that would probably keep me on alert, especially if I couldn't lock my doors and windows properly. But it's got to be a beautiful place to live.
It's stunningly gorgeous, and I never take it for granted. Every day that I wake up, I can't believe I get to live here. It's very difficult. I don't have hot water. I don't have much of a floor. My floor is a combination of sort of chipped and gross cement and packed earth. I don't have heat or air conditioner. So whatever it is outside, it is inside. It's definitely not an easy place to live. I shower with a bucket and a scoop, and I wouldn't trade it. And that's someone coming from South Florida, which is a very affluent area. And I wouldn't go back to that now that I've lived in this for long enough to have become accustomed to it. The rewards are just better than driving the BMW was. This is better.
I can't argue with it. So saying that your windows are open year round, what's the hottest it gets and what's the coldest it gets?
It doesn't actually get that hot, but the humidity makes it almost like you need gills to get anywhere. It really almost never gets over about 94 or 95 Fahrenheit. So for instance, it's hotter in Virginia and Maryland than it gets here, but we have 98, 99% humidity, and it's brutal, just really brutal. I mean, the heat here is a different level of heat, even though the temperature is not as hot as it is in a lot of places in the US in the summer. About as cold as it gets and normal temperatures in the winter at night will get down to about 53 degrees for about 3 weeks in January. Occasionally it's colder than that, but that's about as cold as it gets without it being an anomaly. And that's only for a few weeks. But the daytime is still around 71 or 72, 73. So daytime is still really lovely.
The wintertime sounds gorgeous, honestly. So, did you just come up with your channel format all on your own? Where did the Mermaid come from? Talk a little bit about the development of your channel and how you started putting it out there.
I've had Mermaid as part of my email addresses, or it's just as part of a little moniker for as long as I can remember. I felt a little bit ridiculous thinking I'm 53 years old. I'm more of a mercrone than a mermaid, but it is what it is. And I'm past caring about any of that kind of thing. So I wanted to keep the Mermaid. I'm in the water most days in some capacity. I just love it. And I live in a spot that's really conducive to being in the water. And my goal is to do a fair bit of underwater metal detecting. It's a little cold right now, and I think I have more to learn before I'm comfortable being underwater detecting. I've got more experience to gain first, I think. But I'm really looking forward to that part. And I started the channel. I had watched a lot of other people. I had asked questions on different channels when I saw videos about things that I thought were going to pertain to my learning process, about detectors and gear and that sort of thing. And the people whose videos I had commented on were very kindly in their responses when I said, I'm brand new, I haven't even ordered a detector yet, really want to do this. I got such kind replies, and I thought, oh, this is different. There aren't many groups of people that are this friendly or this willing to take time out of their busy day to answer a question from someone they don't know who they are and may or may not even be serious about doing this. So I was really touched is not the right, encouraged. I was really encouraged by the reception I got before I'd even started anything. And I bought a camera. I made my first video, which was the unboxing of the x-terra Pro, and I got it. It's a terrible video. I was so nervous, and I was completely flat in my delivery because it was the first time using a camera, all of it. But then each video I made, I was learning more. I was having fun with it, and I stopped being nervous because I thought, well, this is either going to work or it's going to flop, and it really doesn't matter either way. I'm enjoying detecting. And the more enjoyment I got, the more everything just started rolling and rolling and rolling. And here we are. I'm on your show. So that's that's where we are now.
First of all, there's so many people that are in the chat today that I call my friends, even though a lot of them I have not met, or in actuality, there's only so many that I've talked to, but every single body that types in here, I at this point I know, and at least I know enough about to where I can have a conversation. And it is a great community. There's tons of great people in here. So if anybody hasn't done so yet, please go over to Anna's channel and click on a video. If you haven't watched one yet, make sure that you leave a like and a comment, and just share an experience, because that's what we do. We get to know one each other, and we become kind of our own little dysfunctional family that takes care of one another. Thanks, Rob. Rob dropped the link as well.
you, Rob. Can I give a quick shout out to Rob? I was going to do this in a video of my own, but I did buy a Simplex light from Rob at Mainly Dirt Fishing, and it was a great experience purchasing from him. The communication was wonderful. I had a really nice chat with them, and I love the detector. So shout out to Mainly Dirt Fishing, Rob.
Yeah, Rob's a pretty good guy. A little bit high strung at times, but he's a good guy. Well, I got a good enough relationship with him that I can bash him a little bit if I want to as well. Let's see. If there is anybody that wants to ask anything to Anna while she's here tonight, feel free. Or I'm just going to keep going off on all these little weird tangents because I'm very curious about how people live in different places and then how they go about their hobby. You know, you'd mentioned in the video the other day that there was somebody. Was there somebody metal detecting behind you on one of your videos also on the beach? Is there a lot of people there with detectors, and do you see it a lot?
Yes, a surprising amount, actually. There is a group here of about 20 Mexicans who detect. And then I've run into a couple foreigners who brought their detector on vacation. I've run into them on the beach in Vallarta. There is a very active community of Mexicans who detect. So I've met 2 of them. No, I've met 3 of them. And then there's one guy who's not ethical at all. He doesn't fill in his holes. If he finds trash, he just drops it back on the beach and walks away. He doesn't talk to anybody. He's very antisocial. So I don't know his name. I don't know anything about him. But in general, most of the guys I see detecting, and I say guys because they are all men, have the same sort of standard of behavior that I see and that everybody in this group sort of abides by in terms of covering up holes, carrying out trash, and treating the environment with respect.
Yeah, that's first and foremost. I mean, honestly, you know, and the thing of it is that if people do not treat the environment with respect or the land that they're digging on, it won't be there forever. They'll take it away from us, and it'll go back to just permissions only. And a lot of people, you know, are not good at asking for permission, or in your case, maybe a little bit introverted, although you don't seem it. But you know, so I was getting ready to. I was going to bring it up earlier because I believe heavily in like SEO and keywords and stuff like that. So when I was setting up this live, let me tell you some of the things that the word introverted metal detecting came up when I typed your name in the list. How did my search engine? Because you hadn't said that word I hadn't heard it. Until
I have it tagged in all of my videos because I think metal detecting is a perfect activity for people who are introverted. It's one reason why I got into metal detecting is I live in this amazing, beautiful place, and I just found myself spending more and more time in front of the computer. And I wanted to get out, but I don't particularly want to be social. And it was one reason why metal detecting was such a perfect fit for me because it can be a social activity if you want it to be, but I can also just go out and do my own thing and be in my own bubble and really relish and enjoy the experience. It's perfect for introverts. So I actually have that as a keyword in all of my videos and my profile.
So yeah, so that's what I was curious about. So when I tagged you in the video, just so if everybody's paying attention that you want to know how keywords and stuff like that work and SEO, when I tagged you in the video, things like Puerto Vallarta came up immediately. That was the first one that came up on my list. So I put your tags or what I thought was important to you. I went ahead and tagged my video that way. But Puerto Vallarta came up first. Treasure Hunter, x-terra Pro, female metal detecting, woman metal detecting. These are all things that you've added to yours. So the SEO is pretty dang smart. But when I saw introverted metal detecting, and I really thought that there was a lot of people that are introverted that get out here and dig. A lot of the people that I have dug with or dig with, there's been some that are very much that way, very strangely and hard to talk to and get to know. That's not me. I like to gab and run my mouth and kind of have a good time. So, but it intrigued me when I was setting it up, because all of a sudden I got all these new tags that were popping in, and I'm very specific about the tags that I use because I want my stuff to be found, right?
Yes.
And then I saw all of that, and it was like, huh. Well, so I went ahead, and the last couple hundred characters I used all yours as well. But I saw the introverted metal detecting, and I was wondering if I had tapped into your channel, because I'd never had anybody come on that I tagged that way. So your keywords must be set up pretty good.
I've been doing web design for probably about 24 or 25 years. So I'm not an expert in SEO anymore. I used to be, but I haven't kept up with all of the newest developments in the past 4 or 5 years. But I think I still know enough to make a positive difference.
Oh, well, it's obvious, because I was surprised. Usually if I type in somebody that's coming on here, and even people that have been on for a while, I don't get the same reaction from the SEO. I never do. But when I typed it in, yours just it just flooded with all these keywords. And I was like, well, man, it just gave me there's a bunch of questions to ask right there. So I think I got past it, but I know you said that you were born in Virginia. How did you make your life from Virginia all the way to Mexico? How did that happen?
Oh boy. I'll make it as short as possible. My mom died. My dad was a Navy fighter pilot, and my mom died when I was 11. The Navy was very good to us. I was born in Virginia Beach, and my dad's detailer found jobs for him in the Tidewater area because my mom was sick with stage 4 cancer the entire 12 years that she had it. She was amazing that she lived so long. So my dad's detailer didn't want to move her from her doctor. It was obvious that if she had to move every 18 months, she was going to die. So the Navy was incredibly good to us and kept us in one spot for a decade. Then after my mom died, we were transferred to DC. My dad died really young, and I started traveling when I was 19. I've traveled a lot. I've lived in a lot of different places. I've lived in 8 different states. I've lived in Belgium. I've lived in the Bahamas. And then I spent 5 years alone on a sailboat cruising the Mid-Atlantic and the Northern Caribbean. When I moved off the boat, I relocated to South Florida. I was there for 7.5 years. And then everybody in my family died, including my fiance, within a 3-month span. I mean, everybody died. Everybody that was left of my family and my fiance died, and his father died. So it was the year of funerals, really. And I couldn't go anywhere without all these memories attached, and so many people died in such quick succession that I was on the internet one night really late, and I can't even remember the article that I was reading, but it was in the 90s or early 2000s when every website had sort of that panel of links on the right-hand side. And one of them said top expat communities in the world. And I thought, oh, I've traveled a lot. I wonder if I've gone to any of them. And I clicked on it, and the very first one was a place in Mexico. And the only way I can describe it is that I heard the voice of God. It was this huge, booming voice that said, you need to go. You need to go there. That's your place. You need to go. And I listened. I didn't even question it. It was such a loud, booming voice. I didn't even question. I just immediately started making plans. I rented a house there. I was losing my house in the 2008, crisis, because without my fiance and I owned the house together. Without him, I was going to be foreclosed on anyway. And I packed up my car with 2 dogs and a cat and some stuff, and I drove from South Florida to Mexico. And it sounds crazy, but it was the voice of God, and there's no other way to describe it. I'm so clear on that. And when I got to Mexico, I was having a lot of emotional problems, except that they weren't. And I didn't have health insurance in the United States. And when I got to Mexico, I was able to hire or to have an appointment with a neurologist, which I couldn't have done in the US. I got an MRI and I had a brain tumor. I was going to die. So coming to Mexico saved my life. I had 2 brain surgeries and now I'm fine. But if I hadn't come to Mexico, I would have been dead in 2010, period. Well, 2011. I would have been dead in 2011. So, miracles happen.
That's a horrible story that's completely uplifting at the same time.
Yeah.
You lost your whole family. You heard the voice of God. You went to Mexico. You got medical treatment, found out you had a brain tumor, and then 2 brain surgeries, and you lived because of it.
Yes.
That's a long story short. There is a whole lot to unpack there. And gosh, here goes my curiosity again, and forgive me if I'm a little too much, but having brain surgery and having a tumor removed, did anything change from before you had the surgery to after about the way you live, the way you think? Because I heard a story today about somebody that had brain surgery, was an athlete, and he had a tumor removed. And after he had the tumor removed, his sense of smell became incredible, and he became a foodie. And then he was eating for a while. They realized that they didn't get it all taken off. And then they went back in and they finished taking all the rest of that tumor out of his head. And then his love for food went away again, and over the course of a couple surgeries. So I was just curious if anything changed with you.
Yes, and at the same time, it's hard to remember exactly because the first surgery went really well. I actually had the first surgery in India. Because again, I didn't have any insurance. I mean, I had to pay for it, and that's a lot of money. And the number 2 guy in the world for this particular tumor was in Mumbai. I got on a plane. I went to Mumbai, India, for brain surgery. It was crazy. I don't know that I would do that again, but I was so out of it that I couldn't even think logically. I was just sort of blindly following the breadcrumbs put in front of me, if that makes any sense. So that surgery actually went really well. The second surgery also went well, but it was just too much for my body. And the second surgery was a really long recovery time. And I was angry. I was not a very pleasant person to be around. So angry that I needed a second surgery. My hair had just started coming back and I was just starting to get my life back together. And then I needed surgery number 2. And I was very unpleasant. I was just not a good person to be around. I mean, I say that I'm probably being a little bit too self-deprecating, but I was bitter. There was just no other word for it. I was bitter. And again, I started putting my life back together. But it took about 2.5 years. To really start to feel like I had fully recovered. One thing that I did lose was I lost, when I say I lost faith and I lost spirituality, I don't mean I lost the cognitive ability to have a belief, but the feeling that went with it was gone. I knew I believed this, but I only knew it in my head. All feeling about anything spiritual or anything sort of non-sentient or anything otherworldly was just gone for me. And that had been such a rich part of my life that I really grieved that. It has since come back, but it's taken time to really be able to feel in a soulful way the way that I did prior to the surgeries. I would say that was the most important and most stark difference. I'm sure there are other small ones, but I haven't thought about them in a long time. My first surgery was in 2011 and my second one was in 2012. So I luckily haven't had to worry about it in a decade or more.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like depression, honestly, because depression can suppress a lot of what you feel. And depression's not an easy thing to climb out of. I mean, I can't imagine that. I mean, I didn't really realize that, this conversation was going to go here today. I thought, I didn't expect. I mean, I'm so sorry for the loss of your whole family. I mean,
Well, don't be though, because everybody has lives and everybody has good things and bad things. I mean, my particular circumstances are a little extreme, but that doesn't. There isn't comparing pain. You know, everybody goes through pain. That's just part of life.
yeah, and there's some people in here that are like that too. Rob says he's a mental mess, and that's just it. But it just, it just seems like I mean, you seem like you really had a path laid out in front of you, and it's the story's kind of uplifting. And then you had the surgeries, and you went to India and had the first. You come back, and you said it took a couple years to recover from the second one. And so fast forward, how long ago was it that you discovered treasure hunting? I mean, when did that start being a thing for you? Exactly.
Probably the beginning of November, end of October, beginning of November. My first video was put up November 22nd, and that was the unboxing of the x-terra Pro, which was my first detector. So I'm 2 months in this. That's it.
That's awesome. Rachel says that Anna should do a podcast series on the subject. Great presence, great voice, and a message that could help many. I agree. Your voice is very soothing. You're very well spoken, and a podcast might be a really good area for you. So I think that would be amazing. Hi, Amanda. This is a newfound love then, right? The treasure hunting thing. This is not something that ever dawned on you before in all the places that you lived, and it just hit you like a ton of bricks.
Yep.
How many YouTube videos a week are you consuming while you're learning your new hobby?
How many videos a week? Probably 80 or 90.
So you're actively looking for different things to help you with your craft?
I would say 30 of them are actively looking for information to improve, and 60 to 70 are supporting other people in this community who have also supported me. So I try to make the rounds and watch videos and give people watch time and comment. And I really want to be an active participant. Everyone has been so giving and kind to me, and I want to give back too. There's a reciprocity in a community that is so small, and I want to be a part of it, not a taker of it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there is this group here of folks is we've got gold panners, we've got magnet fishers, we've got, and then I've put her comment up. We got Miss Danny D, and Miss Danny D is she's an amazing person. We did a nice fundraiser for her recently, and
I contributed to that a little,
and she's such a great person and got great spirit, and she comes in here and helps us all. It's just so many nice, warm people. I can go through this list and I can tell you something good about every single person in here, or I know something. And then we got people from across the globe. Larry's from Australia, and he's a big part of this community as well. It's so nice. And if you're looking for a small group of people where you can interact and have a good time, I suggest most anybody in this chat today.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's really nice to have new people that show up like that. What's on your bucket list? What are you looking to find? I mean, that you haven't found yet. I know you found your first ring. Congratulations. But what do you think you're really looking for? What's hot on your list that you want to see come out of the ground?
Gosh, I'm happy even still finding trash. I mean, I don't mind bottle caps and pull tabs up until like 10 or 15. Then it gets a little old per hunt. But I just am so excited that this works and that it exists. So I still get excited over pretty much everything. I love finding unusual things. I love the cars. I love just weird stuff, watch bezels or, the surprising things that, you just don't think about. I really want to find a Spanish real.
Oh my gosh.
I'm probably not going to find that on the beach, but I might find it in some of the old properties that will be forthcoming. So that's something I want to find. I would love to find gold. A little hint for Monday Digs video. I thought I found gold, but unfortunately it's not.
Yeah, that's no fun when you think you find it, and sometimes it turns out to be, sometimes it doesn't. But that first time is always a big shocker.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, I don't have a bucket list for specifics because everything is still so new that I'm just delighted with all of it. If I had to pick something, it would be a Spanish real.
That's great coin right there. 10, 15 total years in the hobby. I've got 1/2 real and it's melted and burnt, and I can barely see anything on it. I can barely pick out some of the date, but it's mine and I'm proud of it.
Absolutely.
So the good joy is that once you get really comfortable with a machine and you get to the point where you know the machine, you can start not digging some of the junky stuff or just digging everything. I love it when I know what I'm digging, right? If I get into a park and I start knowing everything that's coming out of the ground, that's when I get happy, because then I know my detector's done its job and makes it easier for me to do mine. And absolutely. So you got the new detector this week, and you went out and you went out and dug with it. So Anna's probably going to have a pretty good video next week, and we'll find her a spot on Monday for sure.
Super.
So you said you don't have a digging tool yet?
No.
No digging tool yet.
I don't have a digging tool, and I don't have a pen pointer that's worth a darn. That was one mistake I made. I really cheaped out on the pen pointer, and I have to be about a 1/2 inch from anything for it to sound a beep. So it's pretty useless. So a good pen pointer is on my list, and either some kind of good shovel or digging tool, or not even good, just mediocre, functional is adequate. So those are on my list to get.
Yeah, you can go get like a little 3-foot shovel at Walmart to start out with. They can get kind of pricey. Why that is it's not every day that you get to talk to somebody, because I would have thought that when I started watching a couple of your videos, I would have thought that you'd been making videos for a while. They were kind of pretty well put together. Most of us struggle when we first make them. Go back and look at the first few ones. So you did a really good job, and then delivering information, you've done a pretty good job with that. You look like an old pro at making content. So I had guessed that you had done it before, and to say that you hadn't, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I have edited video before. In South Florida, I was a clinical hypnotherapist, and when I moved to Mexico, I had a good relationship with a brain scientist, and I worked for him. And so I did learn how to edit video for him because he didn't have anybody, and I said, I'll do it. I just need to learn how. So I did have experience editing video, but I'd never made them myself. That was all new.
What's up, Rob? Nice to see you. Rob said that was a great first video for Monday Digs.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, Rob's been around. Rob's another one that's really big into being a good community member, and I've spent some time with Rob digging. We went on a little road trip together once and had a great old time. And
Rob and Charlie gave me my first boost in this community.
So. Yeah, that's what, and then Rob, Rob, the reason why you were on Monday was pretty much, I guess, because Rob basically was trying to help me fill some part-time roles just to try to keep the lineup a little fuller, and then that way, if people don't have something, they don't feel pressed to put a video out.
Yeah.
Here you go. How's your Spanish? We need an interpreter for one of our community members.
It's decent. I'm not fluent by any stretch, but it's decent.
Yeah, so there's a gentleman in here that lives in Chile. His name is Talca Detector, and I got about 4 sentences that I can speak in Spanish, and everybody else has a little bit of stuff, but he doesn't understand hardly at all. But he comes and he supports and he hangs out. He's a really good guy. So one of these days we'll have to see if you two can communicate.
If he speaks slowly, I'm pretty good. If he speaks really fast, it gets harder for me. I can do one or the other decently, but to switch between the two, if he can speak a little slowly, then I can do it. Is he here?
Is Talca in the chat tonight? I haven't seen him.
Yeah, if he speaks a little slowly, I'm fine.
Yeah, because it's a good thing that most everything allows you to Google Translate. So when he leaves comments, you can just translate it over and get it fairly well. But he's been like in here for like almost a year or so, and I don't think he speaks very much English at all, but he sure comes in and types it out and supports, and it's really cool. But he's from Chile. So you're not a citizen of Mexico?
No, I'm a permanent resident. So I have the equivalent of a green card. I mean, and if I don't act like an idiot and break a bunch of laws, I'm here. I can be here for life with no problem. I don't have to pay anything more. I don't have to do anything more. I just have to not be a jerk. I'm fine.
So does that mean that you still have your U.S. citizenship?
I do. I haven't been back to the U.S. in many, many years. I do intend to apply for Mexican citizenship because I've been here for 14 years. It is my home. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having two passports because who knows what the future brings. So I would like to start that process.
Can you be a dual citizen?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, both countries allow it.
Awesome. County seat, we've been to Puerto Vallarta. We went to where they filmed Night of the Iguana and a Tequila Distillery. But I ended up getting bit all over my legs while in the mountains, and a doctor had to come. Oh, no, T.
Oh, county seat. I'm sorry. That's terrible.
Yes. Yeah, so I just, it's like, this is like an episode of Tarzan. You live in the jungle. You've got jaguars and all kinds of critters around. Good thing that it's only the court. Do you have constrictors? Like the constricting snakes?
No.
Like a boa constrictor or something like that?
No, we don't. Well, I mean, we have a few dangerous things, but it's pretty benign. We don't have anything. I've never seen anything like that. And if we did have something like that, it's because someone let one loose, but I've never heard of one here. We do. Puerto Vallarta does have crocodiles. And actually, in one of my videos, I walked by one. It was about 13 feet. I took a picture of it, but I didn't take the time to video because they creep me out. I don't like crocodiles.
Are they like the caimans? Are they like, what kind of crocodiles are there? I mean, if you know.
I don't know specifically. I'm only afraid really of two things, and that's Denison crocodiles / alligators. So I tend to sort of get that when they come up. So I just pretend like they don't exist, and I won't be metal detecting any rivers in Puerto Vallarta. They don't come this far south. We don't have them here, but they do have them in Puerto Vallarta.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Iffy Signals. I just watched 2 of your videos this evening before the live stream on the x-terra Pro Elite. Your comparisons with the triple score and x-terra Pro Elite. I just watched 2 of those this evening.
Yeah, Mike is probably one of the best at explaining new equipment and kind of working through it and showing you how it functions. He is top notch in the community, and he does a really good job for all the detectors that he makes. And we all watch his videos.
Super.
Yeah, like I said, it never ends. Throughout the night, you have so many people that come through here that are just absolutely amazing. Trevor says it's a Morlet Crocodile. I've never heard of that one in per se, but so swimming in the rivers is out, I assume, right?
Not here, not the river here. We have no crocodiles here. And the river's wonderful. It's lovely, but I wouldn't do it in Puerto Vallarta.
So in Puerto Vallarta, no swimming in there. Yeah. I'm still blown away with some of the wildlife. I can't believe you don't have windows, and it just messes me all up. I'm sitting here thinking about it. I guess I could definitely live like that. It doesn't seem that bad, but it would take a little getting used to.
Definitely, yes. If you had told me, well, I've been here for 6 years. If you had told me 8 or 9 years ago that I would be bathing out of a bucket in the jungle here, I would have thought you were crazy. And it turns out I love it.
Turns out that you love it. So, next metal detecting adventure, when is it happening?
I went on a little hunt this afternoon with the Simplex light just here because I'm trying to get familiar with it. It was just the second time I had it out. I wasn't seriously looking for anything. I was just playing with different settings and trying to get used to it. My next serious hunt will probably be Tuesday or Wednesday would be my guess. That's when I'm in the city, and I just have a broader selection to choose from there.
Do you got a favorite beach you like to go to, or a certain place? You got your favorite little spot?
Yeah, I have two favorite spots, but one just always treats me well. And the other thing I am working on, which might be of interest to the community, is I bought the domain name for my channel, detecting or metal detecting mermaid, and I'm designing some merchandise like shirts and caps and mugs. I've looked on Etsy and Redbubble and all those sort of print on demand sites, and there's certainly some selection. And I think that there's room for more designs and more options. So that I'm hoping that will launch in about 2 weeks. It'll be a fun project either way, but I am hoping that launches so that there are more options for, just fun little slogans and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's being a member of the community. It's really a lot of fun. There's so many nice people, first of all, and you learn from everybody. Everybody I watch, I try to take something away from their style of video, try to do something to emulate, and we all try to get better at making content and just being, kind of really good to each other. And your story is pretty crazy. You've lived a very eventful life. I'll have to unpack some of it in my brain because I'm sure it'll trigger thoughts that I'm not quite getting to today. So, man, I just can't get over the amount of loss that you've gone through, and the fact that, I mean, it just seems like a lot and you seem so well put together, and you seem like you've accepted everything that's happened to you, and yet, it's very uplifting. I just sit here and it just keeps catching me off guard that I don't know that I could handle some of the stuff that you've went through. I'm a very emotional person, and I just don't know that I could deal.
Except that being happy is a choice. It's not always an easy choice, but it still is a choice. And I would rather enjoy life than not. It really comes down to that. I mean, days are going to pass, whether you're unhappy or happy, whether you're moping or getting out and doing stuff to enrich your life. The time passes the same. And I just would rather spend it in awe of this amazing place where I live than not enjoying, the one life that we know we have. I mean, maybe there are others, who knows? But we know we've got this one.
Yeah, we're only guaranteed the time. We only know that we're guaranteed the time that we have on Earth. So, yeah, I get it. That part I do get. It's just one of those things that when you brought most of that up, it really caught me right off guard, because it was not what I expected. And I know people go through hardships all the time and stuff like that, but it just seems like you've had more than your fair share. So hopefully the rest of your existence is nothing but gold rings and half reals and good stuff to put on the internet.
Thank you.
Yeah, tonight is going to be my 1 hour night. I'm not going to be on super late tonight. Is there anybody that you would like to say hello to, shout out, or talk to that's in the chat today? Or if anybody else has any questions for Anna, please hit me up and drop them in here and tag me, and I will ask away.
Thank you so much for the experience, Jane. And I'm sure that there probably are, but I have not, this is, I was on Bill's for a short time, and that was totally impromptu and unexpected. But because I'm really new at this sort of interaction and doing this, I haven't really even looked at the chat. I'm going to go back and rewatch this so that I can read through. So off the top of my head, there isn't a specific person or two that I want to say anything to, because I've really been focused on the interaction with you, and I haven't paid any attention to the chat. My apologies. I don't mean that to sound rude at all. I will go back and read through everything.
It is having a conversation and then watching the chat and trying to keep up with everything. I do try to put like little tidbits down here when people want, like Rachel sounds like a 4-year-old right there saying, "Oh, me, say hi to me."
Well, and I can read the highlights, but I need the granny glasses to be able to read the chat too. So I haven't been able to read it as clearly as I would like, which I'll do later. But Andrew, I would like to thank you and everybody here for the time and the opportunity to share a little bit of me with you all, because I know a lot of you have known each other over time, and I'm the new person here. So thank you very much.
Andrew wants to know, what do you think about the Gulf of America?
I have not been in the Gulf of whichever name one wants to call it in a long time.
Also, have you been to La Serena Gordita, the Fat Mermaid, and I can't say Zihan, I can't say that one.
Zihuatanejo. I have been to Zihuatanejo. I don't remember the Fat Mermaid. I don't remember that, but I have been to Zihuatanejo. It's a beautiful area of coastline. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous area. I don't remember that specific place. I should have gone. I don't think I knew about it.
So what's some of the best local type of cuisine? You said you do some tours to restaurants. I forgot about that. Or places where there's some really good restaurants. What's the best thing that you go out to eat?
The seafood here is so fresh. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. The restaurant down from me, which is where I prefer to take my guests when they come for tours, the people who own the restaurant do most of the fishing in the morning. And if you get a red snapper at that restaurant, they probably caught it about 5 hours prior. It's incredible. The fishing's great here. I'm a taco fan. I love tacos. So
hey, who
when I find enough clad on the beach to pay for a couple tacos, I'm a happy girl.
Chris from Show Me Treasure says, amazing story. So glad everything worked out and you're happy now. Keep those adventures coming. Mm-hmm. You will find nothing but positivity in here. And there's been a lot of these comments tonight that I haven't clicked on. So the comments will repopulate pretty soon. Go back and read through them.
I will. I absolutely will. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Shane, thank you for inviting me. It's been wonderful.
No problem. And everybody, thank you for coming in tonight. I just wanted everybody to have an opportunity to meet Miss Anna. And I like to ask questions and stuff like that, so I can feel like I get to know a little bit as well. As we go forward, we should have her on Monday Digs more frequently, because hopefully she'll have tons of adventures, and we always seem to make a spot. But it is a little after 10 tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for everybody. I hope you all enjoyed this. Please leave a comment below after it's over for Miss Anna, and that if there's anything you would like to know or ask, you can probably ask her right there. Be sure to check out her channel. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment there, because the one thing that new creators need is people to interact with their videos. Constructive criticism, good thoughts. It's all helpful when you're new. I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll see everybody next week.
Have a good night, everybody. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.